You already know, Lucrative MMA Betting Podcast, episode 67. A little bit sick, and I'm still doing this even when I'm sick because I'm a professional. And we got fights this weekend. And if we got fights this weekend, it means we have money to make this weekend. Every single week there's fights on, we attempt to make money from it. 90% of weeks, we do make money from it. So hopefully this is one of them weeks. I'm actually quite excited for this card, not only because the card is decent, there's some good spots, there's some good betting spots and some good fights, but mainly because we had a week off last week. And although I still had bets on some fights, it's not the same, man. When you don't have the UFC in your life, it's not the same, you know. The UFC goes above and beyond in terms of their production and in terms of the skill sets of the fighters. It's not even comparable to the other organizations, honestly. I love one are good, one are right there, but they're not really MMA. I love Bellator, PFL, you know, sometimes they get on my nerves with the pacing and stuff, but I still like those organizations. You know, people moan all the time, but people are just moaners, man. But I like fights, I like MMA fights, but UFC, nothing compares to the UFC, man. No, it's not even close. So we've got some UFC back in our life this weekend, and I'm very excited. So first of all, shout out to everybody that's in here. We've got 22 live viewers at the moment. I need to start doing these at a regular time every single week, because then I know the viewers will go through the roof. We still get 3,000, 2,000, 3,000 views every single week, even if I'm putting out this video like 24 hours before the fights. So we still do well. We still have good reach. But imagine if I did this weekly at the same time every week. We'd be getting 8, 9, 10,000 views, 100%. We'd be getting like, well, the top people in the industry are getting. But it is what it is, man. I'm too busy making money like, people are out here making content, but I'm out here making money. And that's the truth at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about anyone specifically, but there's a lot of people, like the majority of people that make gambling content online are not gamblers. I mean, they're not full-time gamblers. They don't earn their money from gambling. They earn their money from content, right? I'm one of the rare ones that actually earns my money from gambling, and the content's more of a secondary thing. So, you know, sorry if I'm not here every single time, every single week, but it is what it is. We're here right now. Let's go. Shout out to everybody in the chat. William Tyner. We got Robert Saladino. James, one of the best in the game. Let's go from New York City. Shout out to New York City. I'm going to be there one day. The English have taken back control of New York City. Trust me, I'm going to New York City one day. Mike Oslong, yes, bro. Brandon Van, we here. Mike saying, came to comment on last video for a video this week. Came to comment on the last video for a video this week. Oh, okay. And don't worry, bro. I'm ahead of you. I'm ahead of you. Let's go. Let's go. Most have jobs too. Wouldn't that mean that they would be able to make less content if they had a job? Are you saying that they're also busy with jobs? Okay, brother. Well, I'm doing 100-hour weeks here, so I don't know if they're working 100 hours. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm just a lazy guy. I'm a lazy guy making money almost every day, man. So I'm happy. I'm happy to do that. Jeff is saying, when is the UFC going to come to Chicago? We are starving over here. I don't know, brother. I honestly don't know. Speak about starving. They haven't been to New Zealand, where I live, for a long, long time. So I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm going to get straight into the card. Won't waffle too long. I'll bring up the card on the screen. And the weigh-ins go on while I'm sleeping in New Zealand. And unfortunately, we've had quite a few fights drop off the card. So that's not great. You know, a week back, I was expecting to get like a 14-fight card, but we don't have a lot anymore. Where we going? Where we going? All right, so let me bring up my screen here and you can see. So this is the full card right now. And if there's any fights that have been cancelled that are not cancelled Anthropology, please let me know. I haven't been up too long. And yeah, I don't know if all of these fights are cancelled, but we'll see how it goes, man. Yeah, so the first fight tonight, we've got Carl Fernandez versus Mark Diakiese. Look, a lot of people are back and forth on this fight. You know, if you go and if you look at the way the line has moved on this fight, you will see that a lot of money came in for Fernandez. Then a lot of money came back for Mark Diakiese. Then actually there was some buyback to Fernandez, and then there was some more buyback to Diakiese. So it seems like every time someone puts money on Hernandez, or people put money on Hernandez, a group puts money, is what it is. Then what happens is everybody puts money on Mark Diakiese. So it shows you that both sides are respected. There's respected money on both sides. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the way this fight plays out. Like, I personally am staying away. I'm not having a bet on this fight. I understand why people will be betting on Fernandez because, first of all, he's in Brazil. He's a Brazilian. Mark Diakiese has looked less than the sum of his parts, if you will say, over the last, I don't know, like, even in his last 5 fights, as you can see here, he's 2-3, 2 wins and 3 losses, right? And pretty sure all of them fights have been via submission, except for the Michael Johnson one, right? So Michael Johnson, he was a massive favorite, -300, lost there against Joel Alvarez. I don't know if he was a dog or fave. I can't really remember, but lost there. Rafael Alves got choked out very quickly. He's been choked out many, many times, Mark Diakiese. So I understand betting on this Brazilian in Brazil at underdog odds against someone like Mark Diakiese, who does fade in fights or does look for the way out in fights at times. Or if he doesn't look for the way out, at least finds himself in positions where he does go out, right? Like he taps out. Multiple times I've seen him tap out. So, like, I understand the angle there. You know, Fernandez is very fast with his striking. I will say that. He may have some speed advantage here. He also seems like he packs a punch, you know, in his kicks and his punches. And he's got some sneaky submissions. So, like, I understand the danger factor for Fernandez. But if you go back and see that fight where he lost, he actually gassed out in that fight. Wasn't a great look. I'm not necessarily sure that this guy is just a plain gasser. You know, I'm not gonna outright say that. Obviously, he won a decision here against Bruno Rodriguez. And if you actually watch this Sardinia fight, yeah, it wasn't a great look, but he was coming back off a long layoff, right? You're talking a 2-year layoff. And so maybe his cardio wasn't on point because of the 2-year layoff, you know? So I can't outright guarantee this guy's going to gas out. And I think a lot of people that are betting on Mark Diakiese, especially at Big Juice -175, are just looking at the Sardinia fight and going, okay, he's going to gas out. He's got a bad gas tank. Let me bet Mark, because basically all he needs to do is come through round 1 and he's going to win the fight. So I don't think that they're looking at this fight correctly if that's what they're doing. You know, me personally. It may be the case that I'm wrong and that he is a gasser and that he's going to gas out again. But I don't think we can come to those conclusions from what we know of him. I think people are just seeing 2 early finishes here. And the fight, I think they're being lazy. I think they're seeing 2 early finishes. And the fight before the early finish, they're like, oh, he gassed out. So he's a gasser. You know, the fight, the last fight that he got extended, he gassed out in. So that means he's going to gas out every fight he gets extended. I don't agree. He's actually 2-1 in decisions, as you can see here. He won the last 2 decisions. So that's the piece of the puzzle that I think maybe people that are backing Mark at Big Juice are missing. But then on the other hand, I'm not betting Fernandez. And I'll tell you why. He's unproven, massively unproven. He's coming in on his UFC debut, right? UFC debuts are notoriously known for underperforming, right? So fighters coming in on their UFC debuts are notoriously known for underperforming. So there's always a hesitancy backing a fighter on his UFC debut. Like, for example, if I think the true odds of this Fernandez-Diakiese fight is a -110 pick'em, then I'd actually genuinely bump it up and say, actually, I think now you have to make Fernandez +110. If everything's the same, just because of the UFC debut. You know, that's how much I believe the UFC debut affects fighters. And there's many, many different reasons why it affects these fighters. I actually also did a video on that. I don't know exactly the name or the title on my YouTube channel, but if you go to my YouTube channel right now, you'll be able to see a long video where I speak about fighters that have lost their UFC debut, why they lose their UFC debut, when to fade them, when to bet on them. I gave like a whole seminar on UFC debutants, so you can go and watch that now. I don't think there's any other video like that on the entire internet. So, you know, I've got a lot of videos like that on my channel teaching you how to bet on MMA, because as I always say, I believe it's much more important to teach people how to fish than to give them a fish. If I give you one fish, you're going to eat that fish tonight and you'll never have that fish ever again. If I tell you that Fernandez is going to beat Diakiese and I'm right, you can bet on Fernandez. You'll never be able to make that bet again. They're never going to fight again. And if they do, the circumstances will be completely different, and I probably won't lean the same way. But if I tell you why I'm betting on this guy, or how to bet on this guy, or what to do in the future, then obviously it's going to put you in a much better position, right? Now, if you're going to follow me and sign up to my service, if you go to my website, lucrativemmabetting.com, and you sign up to my service, you can do it the easy way. You can earn a hell of a lot of money through me, like I've been doing for the last 5 years. I've helped people. I've helped change people's lives, right? So I'm not saying you have to do it yourself, but if you want to, I'm giving you the tools to do that. You're going to have to spend 40 hours a week on learning this stuff and tape and gambling theory, but I'm giving you the tools to do so, right? So on the other hand, I don't think that Fernandez is worth a play because he's a debutant, he's unproven, and he has gassed out. Just because I'm saying he won't gas out, I believe, or just because I'm saying he might not gas out, he still might, right? So like it's a question mark. I'm not saying that he's definitely not going to gas out. I'm saying that for me, I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm also giving it a possibility. So do I really want to bet on someone at plus 150 that I think has a, what should we say, 50% chance of gassing out? It's about 50-50 in my eyes. So yeah, man, I think this is a massive pass for me. I definitely can see Fernandez clipping him and, you know, latching up some form of submission, but I can see Mark outlasting him and just wrestling him. This guy doesn't have good takedown defense, in my opinion. But I could also see this guy like sweeping and getting on top and something, because I just don't trust Mark at this time in my life. So like overall, I think the Mark deserves to be a favorite. Okay, so I guess I'm picking Mark in this fight because I think he should be a favorite. But there's too much danger factor on the Fernandez side, and a lot of unknowns going into this spot. Also on the Mark side that I can't trust him, that I will not be playing any bets in this fight. So that's it. Let's move on to the next fight. And you know me, guys. Some fights I speak about for 30 seconds and some fights I speak about for 10 minutes, especially if I go into one of my rants, because I think it's very important to teach people, as I always say, about gambling theory, because most people don't do that, right? And coming from a position I'm in, where I've been able to make a good living off gambling, I feel like I want to help people do the same with the gambling theory, right? So this one, it'll be a quick fight. It might actually be a quick fight, but it will be a quick breakdown is what I meant to say. So, look, man, seeing Mora at minus 600 is like, I'm looking at it like, how the hell is this girl minus 600? Like, we don't know anything about her. And this is coming from someone who bet on her in a Contender Series fight where she completely dominated and looked like a minus 1,000 favorite, right? I bet on her in that spot. I also bet on her inside the distance in that spot. But that was against the can. And this is her UFC debut. And in the fight, I can't remember what one it was, guys. Let me tell you the exact fight. I watched the fight from this girl. Honestly, it might be this Yuli Alves one. I think it was this Yuli Alves one. This was only in 2021, right? So don't worry that it's way back in our amateur days. This is 2021. I mean, so this girl is fighting so many times. Look how many times this girl fought in 2022. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This girl fought This girl fought 7 times in 2022. She fought in March, April, May, June, September, November, and then again in November, 2 weeks after she fought. So, I mean, this girl's fighting a hell of a lot. But what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That tells you that she's very underexperienced because, yes, she's got 9 pro fights, right? She's 9-0. But 9 of these fights have come in the last 2 years. 1.5 years. All of her pro fights have come in the last 1.5 years. She's been a professional fighter for 1.5 years, right? So she's dramatically lacking in experience. Honestly, it would not surprise me if this girl goes out and loses to Montserrat Ruiz as a minus 600 favorite. Honestly, man, just because of the lack of experience and the fight I mentioned, guys, because everyone's going to be watching her pro fights, right? Go back and watch this Yuli Alves fight. It's filmed on a toaster. It's very bad quality. But if you go back and watch this fight, she went life and death in grappling with this girl, gassed out horribly. And this girl is a Muay Thai striker. She's 1-3, amateur. She's not even a pro, and she's a Muay Thai fighter. Look at her pro fights. All of them are Muay Thai fights. And honestly, she was winning the grappling exchanges against this girl a lot. She was winning a lot of the grappling exchanges. They was going back and forth, right? Mora ended up getting the better of it overall. But this is 1.5 years ago. Now, it's quite funny because she fought this Janine Silva, right? And she absolutely ran through her. She looked like the beast of all beasts. So I will say that this girl has made massive improvements, because I honestly believe that from this 2021 to this 2023 fight, I do believe she has got a lot better. I don't think it's just an opponent thing. I don't think it's like, oh, Yuli Alves was so good, but then Silva was bad, so she looked a lot better. I actually think Silva's better than Alves. Alves is a can, man. Alves, look, shout out to Alves. She's a Muay Thai striker. She's a good Thai girl. She ain't a grappler. These girls were going back and forth in the grappling. Mora was getting reversed, swept, all of that. I watched this fight, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to bet on her on a Contender Series fight. Then I ended up watching more of her fights, and I thought, you know what? She's improved. She's an out-and-out finisher. And then I also watched Janine Silva's no takedown defense, and I was like, all right, sweet. I'll bet against her. But look, she should win here. She's way bigger than Montserrat Ruiz. She's got like a 6-inch height advantage or something crazy like that. Her improvement should carry out over the line, but minus 600 is probably crazy. And I honestly want to bet it. I really want to bet Ruiz but she just hasn't shown anything. The only thing I've ever seen from her in an entire career is this head and arm throw she did against Vlismas. You know, I bet against her big on Amanda Lemos. I'm pretty sure I laid Amanda Lemos money line at minus 500. And also bet Amanda Lemos round 1, Amanda Lemos inside the distance, all of that good stuff, right? Man, I'm so annoyed because I really wish that they give her somebody else, because I would honestly smash the person fighting against her, because I feel like Mora is just going to look really bad at some point. But she's so physical. Fuba's saying she missed weight by 4 pounds. Yeah, there you go. We don't even know if this fight is on. A lot of the Brazilians miss weight. I saw that this time out. She's in Brazil. She's Brazilian. I don't know, man. Like, I am going to kick myself if Ruiz wins. But like overall, I'm predicting Mora to like dominate. I really am, because I've seen Ruiz taken down multiple times. I think she's going to be the physically weaker girl. I don't think her head and arm throw is going to work. But man, minus 600 is honestly crazy. Anyway, I'm going to get off this fight because there's just not much more to say about it. But yeah, it's weird, man, because like when I was writing my breakdowns on my website, I understand why like she's a big favorite, because what does Ruiz offer? But sometimes it's not always about what the opponent offers. Like sometimes a fighter just never deserves to be minus 600, no matter who they're fighting. But she can cover the minus 600 price tag, because if she can get takedowns with ease and just stay on top, then she will win that fight 85% of the time. You know, she will do it. So yeah, man, I don't want to talk about this fight anymore. It's an annoying fight for me. A fight I do want to speak about is Angela Hill versus Denise Gomez. So again, this is very similar to the Fernandez Diakiese fight. A lot of people are on both sides of the coin here. I understand why everyone's on Angela Hill, man. I understand, but I can't do it, man. Honestly, I don't agree with it. She's too old. She gets hurt in too many of her fights. I can't really be playing Angela Hill in this spot, man. She's coming up to 39 years of age. She got absolutely mollywopped by Mackenzie Dern in her last fight. Badly mollywopped. Yeah, she got dropped by Lupita Godinez. She got dropped by Amanda Lemos. Yeah, man. I don't... Or was it Jan Jaroba that dropped her and not Godinez? It was one of them two. But anyway, she got hurt a lot in a lot of these fights. And why can't Denise Gomez hurt her again? If Denise Gomez hurts her once, that's a round. The round's done. I'm pretty sure Denise Gomez is going to land a big shot here. Like, I don't really see a fight in where Angela Hill just completely evades the shot for 3 rounds. I'm pretty sure Diniz will let, because Angela Hill is hittable. You know, she's hittable. Like, it's not like she's got great deep defense. She's hittable. Like, she always has been hittable. Tisha Torres unloaded on her bad. Amanda Lemos caught her early in that first round. Like I said, Godinez dropped her, or Jandiroba, one of them two. Mackenzie Dern, how many strikes did Mackenzie Dern land? You know what I mean? Mackenzie Dern has absolutely no striking skill at all, but she just ran through her on the feet. She ran through her on the feet. It was crazy. So I think Angela Hill is clearly on a downward trajectory. And I know that she looked good against Dakota and Godinez. I still personally believe that she's on a downward trajectory. And if you don't, I think you got your head up your arse a little bit. Like, I think Tisha Torres is just a bad matchup for her. She's going to just throw too many strikes. You know, she doesn't do well against girls that throw a lot of strikes. You know, we saw that in the Tisha Torres fight. We saw that in the Mackenzie Dern fight. She doesn't do great when girls just are able to pump out volume and she can't just evade with footwork. She looked well against Loma Lookboonmee. She just evaded her with a lot of good footwork, pushed her up against the cage. She did the same against Ducote, a lot of good footwork up against the cage. Sorry, not up against the cage, but she used a lot of good footwork in that fight. But I don't really think that she's going to be able to just completely avoid getting clipped by Denise Gomez. Now, here's why I'm not betting Denise Gomez. I don't know much about her. Like, the jury's still out on her, and I'm just going to check the line right now. If she goes plus money, I probably would play her, but I don't think she will. But yeah, the jury's still out on Gomez, in my opinion. I'm not 100% sold on her. I don't know if she has a complete game. She doesn't look like an educated striker. She seems like she has power, and that's about it. I do think Angela Hill has the tools to make this look very easy. I do honestly think that. I just don't think she's going to go without if she can take Denise Gomez's power, she's going to make it look easy. I'm just not confident she can take the power. So this just seems like a very close fight to me, honestly, guys. Like, I'll just conclude it by saying this seems like a very close fight. You know, I don't really see where one fight is going to run away with it. I will say that if Angela Hill can take Gomez's power, she probably will run away from it. But I don't think she can. I mean, in terms of maybe she won't get knocked out, she's never been finished. So, I mean, she's never been knocked out. So maybe she can take the power in that regard. Like, she probably can. I wouldn't be surprised to see her knocked out as well, though, actually. But what's Denise Gomez knockout? Because they probably won't even make it that high, but I feel like it should be. Yeah, plus 315 is. I'd want a bit more than that, but yeah, if she doesn't get knocked out by Denise Gomez, it's probably going to be a close fight. It's probably going to be like the Lemos fight. You know, I could see where she gets hurt early, but then she comes back and it's a split decision type thing. So massive stay away from me. And yeah, there's an argument that you play Angela Hill plus 130 if you think it's going to be a split, but that's just not the way I roll, man. I don't think it's going to be a split. I'm saying it may be, but yeah, man, that's an easy pass fight for me. It's funny because two easy pass fights for me, Fernandez and Diakiese and Gomez and Hill. People that I've spoken to are very passionate on both sides. But me personally, those are like two of the easiest pass fights on the entire card. So I was very surprised to see massive passion on both sides when I think it's just I'm passionate about passing. So yeah, that's just the sport. That's the markets. And that's why we see things differently. And that's why we're able to get edges on markets, right? Because people see things completely differently, right? So you get good odds because people don't agree with you, right? So you can bet on the side that you don't agree with. So yeah, we'll move on to the next fight. I will just address some of the chat here. One thing I want to say as well, I don't know if any of you guys are not from America. If you're from America, don't join this service. But I've just opened up a horse racing betting service. For those of you who know who I am, you will know that I actually came up through horse racing and greyhound racing. And I have teamed up with a gambler over in Australia, and we've been winning a lot of money on the horses. I did a free group for 2 weeks that earned a lot of people a lot of money. And the group has gone private and paid now. We've only got 6 spots left in this horse racing group. If you're not in America, if you're in America, don't sign up to the horse racing group. If you're not in America, I suggest you sign up to this horse racing group. It's massive value for money, and we've won a lot of money on it. And there's only 6 spots left. So since there's only 6 spots left, if you want to get in, I would get in now. I'm going to type the... Yeah, I'll type the website in. So this is the website. If you want to sign up to my horse racing betting service, I'll just bring up the page right now so you can see. I'll present my screen. Yeah, so this is it. Lucrative Ponies, as you can see here. You can just literally go to this website right here. And as you'll see, there's only 6 spots available, right? Only 6 spots. Only 6 spots available. Once these spots are gone, they're gone. So, yeah, a few people are saying that they got on my free horse racing picks when I put it out. Doubled my money in a week with the ponies. Bummer for us Americans on the Lucrative Ponies group. Looks like y'all are killing it. It's doing well, man. Blunt Force is saying keen for the races. Cheeky Elbow is saying can confirm the horse picks are fire. Yeah, so a lot of people got on my free horse racing picks, and obviously I turned it into a paid group. The guy I'm working with is not going to... Oh, thanks for that. I'll fix that. Yeah, the guy I'm working with is not going to give out free picks forever, nor should he. You know, he puts in a lot of time and research into these picks, as you can tell by the way we've been winning. So, yeah, you can get monthly access on this website. I definitely recommend it. And don't worry, because I got a lot of messages from a lot of Americans saying that they're upset they can't join. Like, even though I told many Americans not to join the group, they still joined the group. That's how much they enjoy the group. That's how much money they were still winning. But do not join the group if you're America, because you don't get fixed odds. And if you don't get fixed odds, it's stupid. So don't join if you're in America. But don't worry, I've got something coming for the American guys. I've got something cooking up. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything about it right now, but there may be something for the people who couldn't join a horse racing group if you're in America. I have something similar, but yeah, we won't speak too much. All right, where we go. Seabiscuit is American. Is Seabiscuit the horse from Sopranos? Or is that... No, that was Pyomai. Was that Pyomai? It was Pyomai. Who's seen Sopranos? I know Seabiscuit, though. I know Seabiscuit was a horse. But, no, yeah, Pyomai. Pyomai was the one from Sopranos. Seaman Biscuit is something different. I ain't even going to go into that. You know, I've heard some crazy things back in the day. Anyway, boys, let's get back to the card. But yeah, there's only 6 spots available, so I definitely recommend that you join Lucrative Ponies if you want to make some extra cash. Man, I still got a cold. All right, what we got going on? So, Vitor Patrino versus Modestas Bukauskas. Yeah, I like Patrino here. I think he has all the upside in every different aspect of the fight. And what I mean by that is I think he has the knockout upside. If anyone wins by knockout, I'm expecting Patrino to be the one. If anyone wins by submission, I'm expecting Patrino to be the one. If anybody wins by decision, I'm expecting Patrino to be the one. So when you have that aspect in a fight where the fighter you favor quite heavily to win every method of victory, then he deserves to be a big favorite. So I actually cap Patrino as a big favorite in this spot. In my opinion, the way Modestas wins this fight is if Patrino gasses out or if Modestas makes it like this little point striking affair. So I just don't think that it's going to work on Patrino. I don't see a world in where Patrino gets stuck on the outside and Modestas is like throwing out the jab, every now and then a little push kick. Like, I just don't really see that happening, to be honest. And if that doesn't happen, the fight's probably going to go into Patrino's way. So, yeah, man, as I said, I don't have too much to say about this one. I think Patrino's the rightful big favorite, and I think he gets the win here. I can't say if it's a submission. I can't say if it's a decision. I can't even say if it's a knockout. I really don't know. So, yeah, I'm quite confident in Patrino in that spot. The next fight is Elizeu Zaleski versus Renat Fakhretdinov. So, I bet on Zaleski, man. I bet on Zaleski. I don't love it. Maybe I look stupid. I'm just not a massive believer in Fakhretdinov at this level. I'm honestly not. If we go back and look at his career, he's obviously looks like a very good fighter, right? But the Michailidis fight, I mean, I don't really think like he looked that good in that fight. You know, the later the fight went on, he kind of established his game, but for the first 1.5 rounds, I don't think he looked great in that fight. And Michailidis is a bit of a count, you know, he's not Zaleski. And then Bryan Battle, obviously that was his best fight, right? Bryan Battle was obviously his best fight. Completely dominated Bryan Battle. I bet on Bryan Battle there, probably one of the worst bets of my career. You know, he just got completely dominated. And so I was completely wrong about that fight. And I hold my hands up. I was wrong. It is what it is. I'm going to be wrong many, many times again. I'll probably be wrong multiple times this weekend. I'll be wrong next weekend. Obviously, the name of the game is just to be right more than you're wrong in terms of the odds. And that's all you need to do. So in that spot, I was wrong. But there was a reason I bet on Bryan Battle. Now, it was wrong, but it wasn't just because I thought Bryan Battle was this crazy fighter, one of the best fighters ever. It was because I saw something in Renat that I didn't necessarily like, right? In his next fight, Kevin Lee, he finished him in 55 seconds, dropped him, knocked him out, and then choked him out, right? I can't take too much away from that one. So really, it's just a Michailidis and Bryan Battle fight for me, honestly. Kevin Lee's known to be a flake like that. I mean, the guy got dominated by Ally Quinta twice. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, man. Kevin Lee's, I don't take much from that fight. I didn't bet Kevin Lee. I wasn't one of these guys saying Kevin Lee's the side. And it's such an early knockout or a submission, you can't take much away from. So when I'm looking at his career, I can only really look, because I don't think he looked great on the regional scene. I can only really look at the fight against Michailidis and Bryan Battle. Bryan Battle, he looked really good, but Michailidis, I don't think he looked that great. And I just don't think that, I think Zaleski's got much better takedown defense than Michailidis and Bryan Battle combined. I honestly worry about Zaleski on the feet, which is great, like early. Because if you watch that Abu Bakr fight, he got hurt early. And obviously worked his way back into it. But I do think Zaleski's getting a bit washed now. So I could see a world in which Renat hurts him on the feet, which isn't going to look great. But if they're stuck on the feet for an extended period of time, I think Zaleski's going to have his way. He's the much more educated striker. He can set up some really nasty strikes, flying knees. I don't like Renat's striking defense at all. Obviously, Renat has some power. Obviously, he has some early knockout upside. But if they're on the feet for 5, 10, 15 minutes, I think Zaleski's going to separate himself. And so it comes down to, is he's going to be able to take Zaleski down and ground him? I think he'll probably get a takedown or two. Like, it does seem like he's a very strong physical wrestler. But I'm not necessarily confident that he's going to be able to grapple him like he did against Bryan Battle. I think it might look like parts of the Michailidis fight where he gets him down, but Michailidis at times is able to break the hands, get double unders, reverse, get back to space. I do think at times the fight's going to look like that. And Zaleski's plus 290 here, guys. It could be that Zaleski's washed. And if he is, then Renat Fakhretdinov, not necessarily he's going to grapple him, but I think could hurt him on the feet and probably look like value because he's got the grappling upside and on the feet. Zaleski's getting hurt. You know, if it wasn't for Zaleski's last fight where he got hurt in round 1 against Abu Bakr, someone I actually bet on, then I would actually be a bit more confident in him. Like if he was coming off the Benoit Saint Denis fight, but I actually bet on him against Benoit Saint Denis, and I had a max, I think I had a max bet on him, or I had a 5-unit bet on him at minus 200. And obviously that cashed quite nicely there. And we know what Benoit's done. And obviously that's a weight class down, right? I mean, Benoit was a weight class up. Obviously, he's doing this domination at lightweight. He probably wouldn't do it at welterweight. I mean, we saw how that would go. But it's still saying something that he was able to defend basically every single takedown. It's still saying something, right? I'm not going to completely throw it out just because Benoit's a lightweight. But yeah, it's not saying massive things, but it's still saying something. Anyway, guys, I just think the line's a little bit wide here. I mean, I'm just trying to make the case for Zaleski. I think that he's got great takedown defense. I think he's going to be able to stop some of the takedowns. And like I said, if it's on the feet, then I'm happy to have a bet on Zaleski at plus 290. So, yeah, man, I'm also hearing through the grapevine, through my Russian mate Muddy, that Renat may be dealing with some injury here, may come into this fight striking rather than grappling. And a few things that is going around in Russia that makes me a little bit more confident on Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos here. So, yeah, man, I got the Russian intel making me a bit more confident. You know, we're connected all over. We've got the Lucrative Ponies group popping off in Australia. We're connected heavy with the Aussies. We're connected with the Russians. We're connected with the English. We're connected with the Americans. We're connected all over, and that's how you create a solid betting network, as you get connected with people in different countries, in different places, in different sports. And that's how you really earn money from gambling. You know, as I get older, I'm realizing that betting on one sport is limited, because you get limited and the books will not let you bet on that sport. I mean, when you're betting as much as I do regularly. So, yeah, I'm going off on a bit on a rant right now, but what I'm trying to say is that I'm realizing that connections and network is very important in this life. And maybe my connection helps me on this specific bet, but it's not really about this bet. I'm just speaking in general. But yeah, man, I feel like Zaleski is a bit of an underdog this week. You know, he might be a bit of an underdog. The next fight is Elvis Brenner versus Kenan Krzyzewski. I'm going to pass this fight because I didn't tape Kenan yet. Honestly, guys, I've been very busy this week. And this fight only got made 24, 48 hours ago. I didn't tape this fight. But I actually had a bet on Ribovics against Elvis Brenner at nice plus money. Plus 145, I think it was. So, you know, unfortunately, that fight's called off, but it is what it is. Hopefully, they rebook that if Elvis Brenner wins. The next fight is Rodolfo Vieira versus Armen Petrosyan. Yeah, I like Vieira in this spot. I think that he's got all the submission upside. I think he's got most of the finishing upside. Vieira is very tough, you know. Even though he does gas out a little bit, even though he is hittable, he's still tough. He's not easy to finish. So I even feel like it's one of those ones where Armen Petrosyan, maybe he doesn't get subbed, and maybe he starts to out-volume him, but he could get taken down in round 3. He could get taken down in round 3 and lose the round, just because I don't think he has massive finishing upside in this spot. So I just think Vieira's takedowns are quite good. You know, he's very strong, very athletic, and his back takes are unreal. I mean, his grappling prowess and the way he locks in arm triangles and rear naked chokes, like any form of choke, so fast, so aggressive, so strong. This guy's grappling is elite, man, and Petrosyan gets in trouble on the ground every single fight. He seems like he's got good submission defense, good get-ups, but I don't really think having good submission defense is a good attribute going into this Vieira fight if your attribute of takedown defense is poor. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to beat Rodolfo Vieira, you want to have good takedown defense, not good submission defense. Because it doesn't really matter how good your submission defense is. If you're in a dangerous position on the ground, you're probably going to get submitted by Rodolfo Vieira. I don't care about your submission defense. Now, if you've got great takedown defense, Chris Curtis, then yeah, you can keep the fight on the feet, right? You can keep the fight on the feet. But submission defense, like Armen Petrosyan has shit takedown defense. He has good submission defense, but I don't really think it's going to matter in this fight. Who has Petrosyan fought that's a great finisher on the ground? Kai Bahayo and Gregory Rodriguez. Rodriguez ain't a great finisher on the ground, contrary to popular belief. And neither is Kai Bahayo, contrary to popular belief. He does finish fights. I don't think he's a great opportunistic finisher. I mean, they're not on the level of Vieira. So for me, Petrosyan has bad takedown defense. He's going to get taken down in this fight. Like, Petrosyan will get taken down in this fight. So if you're betting on Petrosyan, you basically believe that he's going to be able to defend the submissions and get back up to his feet. Okay, I disagree. And even if he does do that, I think that Vieira has massive grappling upside. So, like, maybe Petrosyan doesn't get subbed, but he probably is on his back defending subs for 4 minutes of round one. Then he loses the round. And like I said, Petrosyan could be kicking the shit out of Vieira for 3-4 minutes and get taken down in the last round and still get subbed. So I just feel like the takedowns are going to be there all fight. And I don't even think they need to be there all fight. I think they only need to be there in round one. So, yeah, man. I like Vieira in this spot, guys. Next fight, Rodrigo. No. Next fight, Kai Bahayo versus Abbas Magomedov. We'll try and run through this because I want to get this one wrapped up. I think the line's a bit wide here, guys. I must admit, but I guess Bahayo should win. We just don't really know much about Abbas Magomedov, so that's why I don't mind the bet on him. Because in my opinion, we don't know much about him. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you have a look at his fight, have a look at his record, right? Like, yeah, he got knocked out early by Lewis Taylor. What we don't. Other than that, I mean, you can't go back to 2015. Other than that, what? Sean Strickland, he got finished by Sean Strickland. I mean, he gassed out in round one. Sean Strickland is the middleweight champion of the world. He makes everybody gas out. Like, I'm not really taking much away from him. He just lost to the champion. I'm not taking much away from him. And to be honest, he pieced him up in round one, you know. He dominated him. Fuba said, C is a big win. The only thing I'm going to say about that is that this was in 2018 when C was nowhere near he is now. Like, he's such a different fighter now. Takedown defense is on point now. That's the only thing I'll say about that. So, like, it's not as big as maybe it would be now. But I just feel like we don't know much about him. It could be the fact that Kai Bahayo and Abbas Magomedov are minus 110 pick'ems. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really see a world in which these fighters are on the same level. Like, I honestly do, because I don't know Magomedov's level. I think he's a good fighter. I bet on Magomedov at minus 200 against Dustin Stolfus. And yeah, he finished him in round one, but I think he had that fight covered easily. I honestly do. So I rate this guy. You know, I've rated him for a while. Because I know a lot of people like to shit on him and stuff like that, and he gassed out embarrassing last fight. But I actually rate him as a fighter. And now he's plus 250 against Kai Bahayo, who I also rate as a fighter. But Kai Bahayo never really covers minus 300, does he? I mean, when does he look minus 300? Let's go back at his career. And I'm going to tell you the reasons why he looked minus 300. So he didn't look minus 300 against Oleg Zajac. He got a finish. Well done. He definitely didn't look minus 300 against Muradov. Did he look minus 300 against Petrosyan? Probably. Just about, right? But why did he look minus 300 against Petrosyan? Because Petrosyan is a kickboxer and he has no takedown defense. As we just spoke about in the last fight and why I like Vieira. He's got no takedown defense, right? So he looked minus 300 maybe, just about maybe, because he fought a guy with no takedown defense. Gadzi Almagadziev, he didn't really look minus 300 there. I mean, maybe he did, but I bet on him there. But let me show you the difference, guys. He was an underdog in this fight. I bet on him as a plus 100 underdog. And I also bet the fight goes the distance. And I got absolutely ripped off by BetMMA.tips on this one, to be honest. They graded my... Look at this. They graded my fight goes to decision bet as a loss. It was like a 7-8 unit swing. But look, it went to decision. And you know why they did that? And it is what it is, man. Shout out to Mike. I think that he was drastically wrong on this pick, which is fine. We don't have to agree with every single thing in every single aspect of life. I think he was very, very wrong, but I still like Mike. Shout out to Mike. Love Mike. He does a lot of work for us over at BetMMA.tips. But on BetMMA.tips, and this is a funny story, you can tell me what you think about this. On BetMMA.tips, right? You can select fight goes to distance or fight goes to decision. Now, bear in mind, this is the same bet. But depending on what bookmaker you're on, they have the wording a little bit differently. But 90% of bookmakers have the same rules. Whether you bet fight goes the distance or fight goes to decision, as long as it goes to a decision, technical decision or not, you still get paid out. That's 80 to 90% of the books, right? But on bettermade.tips, they have their own set of rules, and they say that if you click fight goes the distance, but it goes to a technical decision, then your bet is counted as a loss. Even though 80 to 90% of bookmakers count it as a win. And you can't actually pick fight goes to decision or fight goes to distance on a book. So if you get a bookmaker up, there is no option to select fight goes to decision or fight goes to distance. There is no option. They're the same option. You just pick whatever the bookmaker says. You don't have an option to pick one or the other. But on BetMMA, you do have the option to pick one or the other. It doesn't really make sense. So that was kind of annoying. That's like a 7-unit difference on my BetMMA or something. But it is what it is, man. But in this fight, yeah, he was an underdog. Now he's minus 300. So I just like I've just proven here. The only time he covered minus 300 is when he could grapple, because he grappled Almeida and he grappled Petrosyan. And yes, he finished Jess Murray, but we ain't going to talk about that. I mean, Murray's nobody. He didn't cover against Aaron Jeffrey. He didn't cover against Santos. That was a low-paced 5-round kickboxing affair, right? If you go back and watch that fight, he couldn't really grapple him. It was kind of just low-paced on the feet for 5 rounds, right? So this guy doesn't really cover minus 300 unless he can like fully dominate in the grappling. And I'm not sure he can do that against Magomedov. So if this fight's on the feet, this shit's going to be close. And I mean, we're getting a massive plus 250 line. So it is what it is, guys. I just think the line's wide, to be honest. I do think that Baya could catch him on the feet. I think he's in and out of range quite well. And I also think that he could get his back and kind of just dominate, not only because he's better on the ground, but also because he's got better gas tank. But by the way, Kai Baya also gasses out. And you're saying get a better mic. Sorry, brother. I've got this one here, but... Oh, I got the bad mic here. Let me switch this. Tell me if this is right. If this is this better now? Has this got better? The wrong mic was selected. So just tell me if this has got better. If not, I'll bring it closer and it'll be even better. Just tell me if this one's got better. Substantially better. Yeah, sorry about that, man. Oh, it's so annoying. Nothing worse than listening to like a tinny audio. I'm sorry about that, man. It is what it is. Forgot. But yeah, I think Mahayo definitely should be the favorite, but I think this is extremely wide, and actually I like Magomedov a lot in this spot. What else we got going on? Rodrigo Nascimento versus Dante Almeida. Yeah, so I have a different take than probably anyone in the sport, right? Anyone in the betting game. And the reason is, like, I don't know at all. Like, I haven't watched breakdowns this week. I watched a little bit of the Club and Sub. I like the Club and Sub. Shout out to the Club and Sub. I like listening to their break. I didn't watch the whole thing. I like listening to their breakdowns, but I haven't watched any other breakdowns. But I think nobody's going to be taking Dante Almeida here. He got beat up in the last fight when they fought. But I've actually watched that fight, and there's a few things that I see that could go differently in this fight. And I don't think that we're getting this plus 160 price tag on Dante Almeida because of the skill set to the two fighters. I think we're getting a plus 160 because of how the last fight went. And I don't think it's indicative of their skill set or if they fight 100 times. Now, Nascimento's definitely live for the submission here. He's definitely live to get a takedown and get a submission. But I do think that, first of all, it's a heavyweight fight. It just brings more volatility. Second of all, Dante Almeida didn't look bad in that first fight against Nascimento. I mean, he got up from bottom when he got taken down in the first round. And he also landed some decent strikes on the feet. When he gave up his back, he got instantly submitted, and that was bad. If he doesn't give his back up in this fight, the fight should probably play out at about a pick'em, in my opinion. For me, heavyweight fight, probably the better striker. If it goes to decision, I would slightly favor Dante Almeida. I also think Dante Almeida can get a knockout. Rodrigo Nascimento is there to be hit. Sometimes it seems like he just wants to hold on and not actually fight. That can play into Dante Almeida's favor. No two fights are the same. I don't know. I just feel like there's a few positives for Dante Almeida here. I mean, mainly the line, guys. Mainly the line, plus 160, you know. So, yeah, I think Dante Almeida is
I think the line's a little bit wide, but I'm not massively passionate about this one. It's kind of just, I don't know, just more of an analysis, like hunch thing I have. The next fight, Gabriel Bonfim versus Nicholas Dolby. Yeah, good fight. I think Bonfim's going to run through him. I've seen Dolby knocked out and submitted by Jesse Ronson, which got no contested. A lot of people will be doing their wiki capping and they won't really see this fight because it says no contest. But that was a bad look. He got rammed through early in round one. I could see the same thing happening. He's been on a bit of a streak, hasn't he? But yeah, I could definitely see the same thing happening here. I don't have much to say about this one, guys. I don't really want to speak about this for too long. If Bonfim doesn't get him out of there in round one, then I will say that Dolby has a chance to come back and win the fight like he always does. He's always pushing the pace in the second and third rounds, but I think Bonfim's a very good striker. Well, I think Bonfim's a very dangerous striker with his boxing, and I think he's a very good opportunistic submission artist. It's not a hot take saying that. I think one of these days Bonfim's going to get a knockout because he keeps getting submissions, but one of these days he's going to get a big knockout. And this might be the day. But yeah, I'm picking Bonfim to win probably in round one. I'm not really going to speak about that one. And I ain't going to speak about this one much either, guys, because Jailton Almeida versus Derek Lewis. I'm actually going to bring up a free bet I have for this fight. So I'm going to give you a free bet right now. So if you didn't know, I made a new Twitter account where I'm going to give out solely free bets. So obviously on my Twitter account, sometimes I give out free bets, sometimes I don't. But I have a new Twitter account where I'm going to post only free bets. So if you want free bets, follow this Twitter account that I'm posting up right now. And I actually put a free bet on here. So I'm going to show you. Yeah, so this is my free bet right here. Sorry, it's my free betting tips website or Twitter right here. Lucrative betting tips at lucrative bet tip. And we'll scroll down and we can see I have a free bet here. Lucrative betting tips. UFC Sao Paulo free bet. I've been killing it on. What do you mean by free bet? I don't have to put up. No, bro. I don't mean that. What I mean is I'm giving you a bet for free. If you go on my website, you can sign up and you pay me to get all of my official picks and predictions. But you don't have to do that right now. I'm just going to give you a bet for free. I give you this whole breakdown for free, right? But now I'm giving you a bet for free. Now, I don't know if everyone can play this because this is going to be bookie dependent. But for anyone who does have Ladbrokes/Neds, you can definitely bet this. And if you bet this in other bookies, you might be able to get some good odds as well. I don't know. I know lots of bookies do same game parlays, but I don't know what odds you can get. But anyway, for anyone who can bet this, as I say, UFC Sao Paulo free bet. I've been killing it on same game parlays, SGPs, for 1 to 2 years now. One of the craziest betting edges I've ever exploited. So this is not tracked on BetMMA, right? Because you can't track same game parlays. But I have been betting on same game parlays for the last 1 to 2 years, and I have made so much money on them. What a same game parlay is basically you bet on multiple things to happen in the same game, right? So in this one, I have bet on Jailton Almeida to get 1+ takedown, Jailton Almeida also to win in round one, and Jailton Almeida to win via submission, right? I put 2,000 on this to win 7,000. It's plus 250. So I'm essentially getting Jailton to win by submission in round one at plus 250 when it's minus 130 at Sharp Books, Bet Online, Pinnacle, 5 Dimes. And best price is plus 150 elsewhere. So I'm getting a massive, massive edge on this bet. I honestly think this bet is minus 110. Like you can see here, this bet is minus 130 on Bet Online. So this is a bet that I'm playing this weekend. If you can play it too, then play it. And like I said, if you want more free bets, then go and follow Lucrative at Lucrative Bet Tip on Twitter, because I'll be giving out a lot of free bets on there, not only for MMA, but also for other sports, for horse racing and other sports than horse racing and MMA. So a lot of free bets will be given out on that. I'm not going to give many free bets out on my main channel, but on this, I will. So yeah, let's get back to the fight. I mean, you already know what bet I'm placing, right? So that's what I think is going to happen. I honestly think that Jailton Almeida is going to submit Derek Lewis in round 1. I don't think Derek Lewis is much at this stage of his career. He's lost multiple fights other than the last one. The Lima fight was a lucky knockout at the end of the day. It was a flying knee within 5 seconds. You can't take anything from that. I think Jailton is way too good for him. He's probably going to take him down and submit him in round 1. I don't have much more to say about that, guys. You can get cute with a KO prop because obviously it's a lot juicier than the submission. It always is, but I do think this one's going to be a submission. I think Derek will give his back up. He got submitted last time out by Sergey Spivak. He also got submitted by Daniel Cormier. And yeah, I think he's going to get submitted again. I think it's going to be an arm triangle or a rear naked choke. Literally like what Spivak and Cormier did to him, either one. So that's it, guys. Nothing more to say. That's the full card breakdown, the full card breakdown. I've broken down every single fight on the card for you. If you got any questions, hit me up now because I'll be leaving. Shout out to everyone for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Just subscribe, brother. Shout out to Mushroom. James, any chance you can put together the gem parlay for us? Yeah. Let me just look at the card. Degenerate parlay, right? All right, let's go with... We're going to go with... I'll bet this live on stream as well. I want to bet this live on stream. All right, so we're going to go. This is the degenerate parlay for UFC Sao Paulo. So we'll go Jailton Almeida wins by submission. We're going to parlay that with Abbas Magomedov. And you know when I'm making degenerate parlays, like you saw in Narco Cop's stream last week, I ain't playing no bullshit degenerate parlays. I'm playing degenerate parlays that are really going to make you some money. So we've got Abbas Magomedov, Jailton by submission, and we'll cap it off with Vieira by submission. That is plus 1,700. Plus 1,700. Plus 1,695. So you got plus 1,700 there. I'm just going to chuck $150 on it. Returns $150 to return $2,693. So there we go. Degenerate parlay. And that's real degenerate parlay because that parlay is going to earn you a lot of money. Not no bullshit degenerate parlay where we're just putting all the favorites in. That ain't really degenerate parlay. So that's it, guys. I'm done now. Remember to smash the like button. Yeah, I always forget that. Smash the like. It makes the video do more views. If the video does more views, obviously I'm going to want to do more videos because they're getting more views. It just makes sense, right? My reach is growing. Thoughts on Abbas Baralo under 2.5 rounds? No thoughts on that. Feel like it's probably accurate. We just don't know much about Magomedov. I don't know enough about Magomedov to say, yeah, the under 2.5 rounds is good. I don't really think he's going to stop Barajo. I mean, Barajo looks tough to me, man. It looks tough to me. He plays it safe. He probably ain't going to submit him. He probably needs to knock him out. I don't know. And then on the other side, Abbas kind of has to gas out because Barajo has a lot of decisions. He doesn't really push the pace. So, yeah, I feel like it's very accurate based on... Honestly, feel like it should be more juiced, like the over. No, the under. Wait, no, the over. I feel like the over should be more juiced. I feel like it should go more over. But based on the dynamic of what we know about Abbas, I really have no confidence on that. Thanks for all the hard work, brother. Much respect. Jamie saying Haggerty tonight, yeah. Jonathan Haggerty's fighting tonight. Good fight against Ruiz or Andrade. Go and watch that. Money lines with Abbas and Vieira. No, I said Abbas money line and Vieira submission. Mushroom saying leave a comment in the comment section. Again, more comments, more reach. And that's it. Luke, have you given any free leans for this card? Why don't you go back and watch the 1 hour breakdown I've just spent time doing, and then you can know yourself. YouTube saying the GOAT. YouTube calling me the GOAT. Shout out. All right, I'm done now, guys. I'm a bit sick and I need to go. But yeah, like I said, sign up to my horse racing betting service. We've only got 6 spots left. I think 6 spots. Let me have a look. 5 spots left. We got 5 spots left. Once these are gone, guys, they're gone. So if you want to, you're going to want them after when you see me posting all the bet slips of us winning, like we have been doing for the last 2 weeks for free. So if you don't sign up now, then forever hold your peace. You're going to want to sign up once you see that. And don't forget, the best MMA betting service in the entire planet. If you go to lucrativemmabetting.com, the value for money is insane. I'm not going to go into it. Just go to lucrativemmabetting.com, watch the video on the channel, and then tell me if you want to sign up after that. That's it. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next week. Good luck on your bets this weekend. Let's cash.